Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia mogul.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
We're here with Mr. Meltzer, who's also a legend in his own right, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. If you're an entrepreneur out there, somebody who's thinking about it, words of wisdom, you're going to need a notepad. You're going to need a pen. Hello, how are you, my friend?
I am awesome.
Good to see you.
I made the snow from California. This is great.
You did, and you're on the move. I follow you. Like, I'm like, man, where do you get this energy from? And
it's awesome.
And like, what is the priority now? Is it the new show? This year you got this entrepreneur show sponsored by Sprint, sponsored by Entrepreneur Mag, who I love Entrepreneur Mag. Like, is that a big part of your game right now, or is it the pods, or?
You know, it's interesting because I call it a vertebrae approach. And I built a business with Warren Moon, and we were able to create, originally, I kind of leveraged Lee Steinberg's brand, right? As you know,
yes.
I ran Lee Steinberg.
Did a phenomenal job with it, yeah.
Right, my career went from like, hey, that's Lee Steinberg's CEO to that's Warren Moon's partner. But about 3 years ago, Warren and I, he's 60, we decided, you should build your own brand, Dave, and use this vertebrae approach where we have a sponsorship and marketing platform. We have a media company that videos, real short form.
Really strong, and you got a strong following.
Yeah, and so that was the original, like the whole sales of our media company is, hey, if this schmuck, right, this guy Dave Meltzer, who nobody knew, if he can build a brand, up to a Gary Vee level, he could do that for my company. And like literally people have come to us and said, I kind of want the Dave Meltzer package.
I like the Dave Meltzer, and I love Gary Vee, but you're more of the how-to. You'll demonstrate, orchestrate, explain. I think the patience level it's a different pace.
Yeah, I always say
your game.
I totally agree, and so does Gary, right? I say, Gary, you're kind of the high-energy F-bomb guy, and I'm the lower Buddha, I'll cry on stage guy. But I'll tell you the truth, right? I get down deep and say, look, here's the skills you need, the knowledge you need, combined with what Gary deals with, that motivation or desire.
Energy, desire, persistence. Yeah. You've written a few books. We got a new one coming out.
Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm doing a book with Jack Canfield.
Wow.
For charity, though.
Legendary, though, yeah. Jack. Was it great working with Jack?
He's amazing. He's actually been a mentor of mine, so it's nice to have his ear to, he's older and he knows what's going on, especially in the speaking, coaching, and book business. So he's mentoring me. We came out with Be Unstoppable.
That's the name of the book, Be Unstoppable. And who's that book for?
It's for the charity, which I'm a chairman of, the Unstoppable Foundation. So I'm building a leadership and empowerment center in Africa. And the reason is I've been a chairman of this foundation. We've impacted 75,000 people in Africa, which affects America, trust me, stabilizing Africa. But the interesting thing is these mostly women have graduated high school, now college. They don't have an empowerment or leadership center where they can go back and empower these other kids themselves. So to create, like you said, I'm a how-to guy. To create the how-to now, we've empowered these people. Now let's teach them how to teach other people.
You've made a lot of money, but is the joy, real joy right now, is about who you can help and how you can give back?
Absolutely. So, like you, I grew up with nothing. And I love your story, because I was a grinder, but I've done it twice. I made a lot of money. I lost it all. And the reason I lost it all is I lost gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication.
You find your bank account basically, locked and loaded and just huge, and then you're bankrupt, emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah, and then bankrupt financially. And, it took me 9 years to build it up bigger and better than ever, but I did it a different way.
Okay, tell me how.
Exactly. So I decided that instead of taking from people, because I can sell like you, right? We grew up with nothing, so I can oversell, back end sell. I even lied when I was young. I cheated people. I was a good salesman. And what happened was I decided, this time around, I know how to make money, but I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to wake up every morning, pray to God, put 10 people in front of me I want to help. And then all day long, all I'm going to do is focus on providing value. Literally, whether it's to friends like you or people that I just meet, I now stop to open doors to people I don't know. I just continually, no matter at what level, provide value, and I trust that the universe will fill the void. Instead of me creating a void by promising things even that I can't keep, instead I just provide value. So my analogy is this. It's called the 120 rule. I said, imagine if God gave you a bag of hundreds in the morning, and said, your job, Brandon, is I want you to hand out the $100 bills to people and ask for $20 back. What a great job. And carry that energy. And so that's what I do with all the businesses that I have, the TV show, the podcast, everything that we do. I kind of transition this shift of the paradigm, which Jack talks about a lot, shifting the paradigm, Bob Proctor.
Yes.
I shift a paradigm of value. Instead, I literally trust the universe so much that if I provide value, the universe fills me with so much more. And that's where everything that I'm doing is resonating with people. It's taking off. And believe it or not, I'm making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun. But I'm not spending it on myself. I had Ferraris and Porsches and huge homes.
Overrated.
Overrated. I drive a Chevy Volt. I live in a modest home. I empower my children. I have 4 children, and I teach them the values that I believe in: gratitude, forgiveness, empathy, accountability, and effective communication to live an inspired life with consistent and persistent enjoyment of the pursuit of their potential.
I love that. I think the key is and when you stop for a minute, you think about most people want to do well, and then one day they're going to do good. The goal is do as much good as you can, and that good will enable you to do well. And a lot of people have it reversed, and they're trying to figure out how to maybe make good or give back, and they're on their dying days. Don't wait. The joy is in the giving back and helping people, and you can have both. Do more good so you can do well. Don't worry about doing well so that one day you can do good. And I think that a lot of people have it a little bit confused.
Yeah, I believe there's 3 worlds that people live in. One, and you'll resonate with, one is there's so many people that live in the world of not enough. And what happens is when you live in a world of not enough, you'll never have enough, no matter what you have. And you've met billionaires in the city, and they live in a world of not enough. Then you got those people that live in the world of just enough. No matter what they do, they always have just enough. I have really shifted into a world of more than enough. And that's what you're talking about. By doing good, you'll do well. And when you live in a world of more than enough, you know that there's enough of everything for everyone. You're willing to give it, right? You're living to give, and it all comes back to you in an abundant way, in a really positive way. And
I love that.
It works well.
Talk to me about your show, because I've caught it a couple of times. First of all, how do people watch the show and get the show? Why are you doing this show? And is it I mean, it's so hard to explain entrepreneurship in a show. I've bitched about this, about the Shark Tank and some of the others. I love that you've teamed up with Entrepreneur Magazine, because I think Entrepreneur Magazine is still the pure essence of entrepreneurship, where they're teaching you one-on-one entrepreneurship. Tell me what motivated you about your show. Where do you find the show?
Sure.
And how's that going overall?
Yeah, so entrepreneur elevator pitch. And the idea is that I started realizing so many people didn't know how to pitch their ideas. And they also confused one thing: innovation versus entrepreneurship. There's so many people with good ideas, and then I'd say, oh, can I see a business plan?
Can't execute.
Right. You know, a difference between, by the way, difference between innovator and entrepreneur is an innovator has an idea. An entrepreneur knows how to monetize it, a direct path to revenue. So my favorite example is Ray Kroc.
Okay.
Because he didn't even have the idea of the speedy service
He was
system.
just an improver.
Yeah.
And a broker.
Knew how to monetize an idea. And in fact, he monetized it so well that he bought the rights to be called the founder, which is what the movie's about. Well, Entrepreneur Elevator Pitch really stresses on, let's create a how-to. I call it Shark Tank with Soul. Let me mentor you. So we all have to agree. You know, there's no fighting between. We all agree. And even if we don't fund you, we have an entrepreneur fund that can help as individuals. And then 2, Indiegogo partnered with us so that they can prove the judges wrong. Hey, this is a great idea. Watch. The public's going to fund it.
I love
we've
that.
Had so many great companies that we either weren't able to fund, or we didn't think were a good idea, and we had egg on our face.
Give me a couple of examples. First of all, where do you watch the show? Where's the show?
It's on Amazon, Roku. It's all the digital. It's the #1 digital business show in the world.
It's doing well.
23 million viewers. Yeah. But Entrepreneur Network likes us to send everyone through Entrepreneur, which you can see it through as well. And we are in negotiations to put it on TV. It was weird for me because my podcast is on Fox Sports and NBC Sports, and I always said, God, it's weird that they put my podcast on before this unbelievable show. But when you're dealing with the sponsorship dollars, et cetera.
Yeah, you got to
it's a
kind of
bigger
play
deal.
it. You have some guidelines. Now you're going up the elevator.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
And so it's kind of, you got to be quick on your feet. But sometimes people don't realize, ask them what they do. And an hour later, they still haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
So this really gets you focused in, which I think anybody out there, you need an elevator pitch, even if you're in college, high school. Who are you? What are you trying to do? And you need to get to it, and you need to get to it quick. Is that the purpose of the elevator part
Exactly.
of it?
To teach the elevator part is, hey, tell us what you do, stimulate interest enough, but also tell us what you want. I think the biggest failure that I see in entrepreneurs is they're all afraid to receive. So what energy do you carry when I have a great idea? Hey, like these guys here on my show, the Rally Flip Cap guys. They have a splittable, and I brought them here to meet you because
Can't wait to see that. I was wondering what those hats were about.
yeah, so those guys were on the show, and they were terrific because they carried an energy like the 120 rule. Hey, great idea, but this is what we want, right? You give us, $1 million for 20% of our company. What's the energy if I'm afraid to ask you, if I don't believe in my company, why would somebody invest in you?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Over 50% of the people in the elevator don't ask.
And the energy and the ask are very important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because
A lot of people
confidence.
are afraid to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get.
I agree. That's
Right?
the-
I always kid around. It's like, Mariana, when you finish pitching that, can you step 2 steps back? Because my sign is over there, and I get the last pitch with my sign in there. He's like, you're crazy. Meanwhile,
He does it.
he steps back 2 steps, but you got to ask.
You got it.
Now, I don't know how much that was on his mind or whatever, but he did it.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of things don't happen because people just don't ask. They just assume that they've got the answer, and it's usually not a good one.
You know what's interesting is I break it down to 4 different platforms in 2 different things, meaning
Okay.
in person, you can ask. In person, you can use the phone, either text or voice. In person, or via email or social media. Well, it's 2 different things you can do. You can, number 1, you can ask, or 2, I like to attract. And so I'm a little bit more strategic about, so if we were talking
How
about
would you attract? Give me an example.
attract
of
as
that.
an example is if I'm talking to a charity and we're looking to use my media company or my sponsorship or platform, I'd say, I'm on the board of the Rose Bowl and we did this great Peyton Manning video for Inspire, and we were able to raise off of our first video $10 million for the Rose Bowl. And I'm talking to some executive, on the board of a charity. That's an attract because they're going to say, "Oh, can you do that for us?" Well, now not only am I helping people, like for Mariano, right? I'd say, "Oh, other pitchers. It's interesting, Mariano. Our sign's right there. Other pitchers, they're doing me a solid. They're taking a couple steps to the left after the pitch so that we can see the sign. Instead of asking, I'll do that for you, because you've earned it, right? So I use the attract methodology.
I like that. That's good. That's
And
good.
And it's going to happen,
Yeah.
and it gives them a
Use the
chance to
example.
be abundant.
Yeah, I like that. Tell me a couple of common mistakes that entrepreneurs make that you notice that come on the show.
Number 1, knowing your business. They don't have a direct path to revenue. They million great ideas out there. So why would you invest in an idea? Have a business model. 2, ask. You got to ask for something. And then 3, I call it the 7 breaths of Buddha. You got to breathe. It's amazing. People.
How they speed up and you take their nervousness actually and almost it's bothersome.
Yeah, and
See it on the Shark Tank a lot.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I'm wise enough to know that they're nervous because they really care, but most people aren't. And
Confidence is king, though.
Yeah.
There's something about a confidence because you're not really only investing in the business, you're investing in that person.
There's a woman who's an incredible entrepreneur, and she had the spiritual vibration thing. I forget the company, but I was just in love. I'm like, I don't care what she's selling. I'm investing. Because that's how great she was. She was so phenomenal. And then I got to meet her, and I found out when she was 20 years old, her parents disowned her because she adopted 2 children because nobody else would at her church. So there was 2 kids that were like 12 and 11, and at 20 years old, she adopted them because
That's
nobody
amazing.
else would. And I'm like, I don't care what you do. I know you're going to be successful. And just like someone like you, I'd invest in because
You
if
know
look
the
at
heart's in the right place.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Got a great success story, something that really jumped off the show. That's like, I can't believe this person came to me and I'm having so much fun. It's just amazing. Wow, what a great product. What a great process.
Yeah, and they're New Yorkers, so you'll love this.
Everything starts in New York. I mean, being a true New Yorker, right? Is there anything going on outside New York?
That's why I come here.
Is it possibly any business going on outside New York? Or Because my mother always said, if it doesn't happen in New York,
It's not
really happening.
Yeah, no. And
She actually believed that, though. That's what's so scary.
well, with this weather, they have to have
Yeah.
something here to attract
That's true,
people.
too.
But so my favorite company is Selfie Cookie.
Selfie Cookie.
It's another company I want to introduce you to. So basically, they've come up with a process with these delicious cookies. The guys, they're from Dunkin' Donuts, experienced operators, but they have an instant way of putting your picture on a cookie. You know how they do the cakes?
Yeah.
But they're delicious, and they have a process. It's not easy to put these things on a cookie.
I love that.
It's amazing. And
Where do I get that cookie? Where's the website?
Selfiecookie.com.
All right,
It's amazing.
selfiecookie.com.
But
Ben, we gotta check that out.
yeah,
I've got
they're
to
in
get
Long
selfies.
Island. They're
That's
awesome
cool.
guys, and
I like that. I'm gonna maybe send that to my kids.
yeah, I do it for
Yeah,
all our
yeah.
holidays,
I
and they're
love that.
delicious though. So, and if you order by 7 p.m., they're there by 10 a.m. the next day. So they
Wow.
have a deal with FedEx, and these cookies they do live at parties, which are really cool. So instead of the photo booth, you're now getting cookies.
I love
And
that.
yeah, so that to me was the best.
That's
company,
cool.
The best
So you're
successful.
enjoying that, and you just enjoy you never know what's coming next kind of thing. You know what's coming off that elevator.
It's
right?
amazing. Yeah, and it's fun because a lot of people on the elevator too, we have to teach lessons of what not to do. So not only can you have great companies and great entrepreneurs, but it's fun to have people like one of my favorite ones was this wacky professor who had, and it's a great idea. So he comes in and he's holding this thing and he said, I can, through electrical current, extract oxygen from fire, which makes, for me, physics sense. If you take away oxygen, fire dies. So he's holding this thing. So I had to let him off the elevator because I'm like, I got to see this thing work. So I'm like, give me a lighter. I was like, can you show this? Oh no, this is just a remote control. Like it had this is an idea.
But he got your attention.
Oh yeah. We let him off the elevator and then sent him right. It's right
Now,
out of there.
I noticed you go to a lot of colleges and schools,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been to a whole bunch of schools lately speaking, and I love what I'm seeing now in high school and college. There's an uptick in entrepreneurism. What have you experienced now in the schools, let's say recently versus maybe a few years ago? Have you ever seen a shift?
Yeah, I have. One of the things is I'm a chancellor of Junior Achievement University, so I deal with these kids around the world all the time, and I'd love to introduce you to them because you're a perfect person to join
Love
as
to.
a chancellor.
I love the project in Africa. I mean, I think that's you got to have balls. I mean, that's the shit. I
Yeah,
mean, that
exactly.
I love that, Dave. I mean, that is just so aggressive and ambitious and generous.
Oh no!
I mean, really, that's cool.
But
the
these
leadership
ki-
program. I mean,
you know
that's
what's cool?
that's really good insight.
Thank you. But I think these kids, the difference that I see is that even though they're in college, I think they have a different perspective of the value of being in college. They necessarily, when we were in school, it was about being educated. For them, it's about being, I think, acclimated to the entrepreneurial world. They take a more practical approach where, there's this separation. Okay, you're going to learn this, but you're not going to use it in the real world. Does that resonate with you when we were young?
There's no question. Although I was, I did accounting, and I know I needed some of that for down the road, so I was trying my best to pay attention. But I was an odd kid. People looked at me and thought I was weird because I was always starting businesses and hustling this and hustling that. Now when I go to these schools, I see kids like, no, I bought and sold a business already.
Right.
And you're a sophomore in college.
Yeah.
And I just see so many more kids now that are actually doing it. It's on a small scale. They figured out how to go get clothing from Alibaba and then broker it in, or a phone case, or a keychain, and they're hustling. And
My girls hustle me. You know what they do? I have one in college. I only parent in the world that went down. She's got a scholarship to Tulane. I went down there. I was like, hey, you have more money in your account than I sent you to school with. And I'm trying to figure out, what is she doing? She's selling what's she selling? Well, I started figuring out she's taking Uber and Uber Eats, and then her friends are Vimeoing her money into her account. So she's hustling me now. Right?
I love that.
I'm her big customer, but it's truly entrepreneurial, so I give her credit.
I mean, I think that a lot of kids don't also realize, and maybe they're starting to realize, but my one thing when I go and speak at schools is take inventory of really what your parents are really about, forgetting that they're your parents. Because you may have gotten a full education and degree just from your parents alone. I mean, some of these kids I talk to, their parents are CEOs, they're VP of marketing, they're in all different businesses. I'm like, you've been around these people for like 18 years. If you really take a little inventory and stock of what you've learned, not to mention neighbors, cousins, uncles, you'd be surprised maybe what you know. And then the school thing could even, take it even further and use these people.
Oh, no doubt.
And a lot of kids are like hesitant to do that because they want to do it on their own. I'm like, use all the assets to help you get what you want.
Yeah, 3 mentors. That's what I preach.
3?
3. Always have 3 mentors, no matter what age you are. Pick people that are in the position or situation you want to be in. Why should you have to pay the dummy tax? So even today, I always say
dummy tax. Explain that.
Yeah, so it's in my book. I always say I went broke because I had to pay the dummy tax. If somebody would have told me, I owned tons of real estate when I retired, so over $100 million in real estate, a golf course, a ski mountain. But what I didn't realize, because I had to pay the dummy tax, if I had a mentor in real estate, one person I could have called that owned a golf course, they could have told me what to do. But what I did is I thought, no matter what, I'd always be able to borrow against the equity I had in properties. So I had all this equity in properties, but with subprime lending, with the economy, and the way I grew up, being able to keep buying properties on credit, all of a sudden they cut me off. And although I was rich on paper, when people cut you off from your money, I wasn't liquid.
Game over. I think that a lot of times, you don't want to be on the job training your whole life.
Yeah.
You're about to have a kid. Talk to some people that have a kid.
Yeah.
See what the deal is the first few years of having a kid. You don't have to experience the whole thing and learn as you go, because by the time you figure it out, your kid's already going to be grown up.
Yeah, you can accelerate everything.
Yeah, you can accelerate a lot of things just by, being honest and just having a good conversation with somebody you respect that's already been through what you've been through.
And people love, don't you love it when kids ask you for help?
Yeah.
I love it when they ask me for advice, and you're
Absolutely.
you're making old guys like us feel good because a young person's like, hey, showing me respect. And meanwhile, in their perspective, because I do mentor a lot of kids, they're nervous. And meanwhile, there's this disconnect. This is why effective communication is so important. You're denying me this pleasure of all the hard work I have of giving.
And sharing.
And you're scared to ask me. And meanwhile, we could create this acceleration of an expansion. You take what I've learned over these 50 years and improve on it with your perspective, your knowledge of what's really going on today. Because as much as I try to stay involved with all this media stuff, I had to hire a 17-year-old to do my Instagram.
There's no question. Same here. I think I'm getting more mentorship from people mentoring me, from kids that are 17, 18, almost equal to what I've been mentoring down.
Absolutely.
The kids now are tremendous mentors for me. I have a 17-year-old in my office for 6 months to teach me how to go Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
And they're good at it.
Really good at it.
They're really good
at it. My
it.
first video, when I had my Instagram, my 17-year-old, and I looked at it, and in my mind, I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to post this. This is the dumbest video I've ever seen. Well, all of a sudden, we went from 1,500 views, right, to 15,000. And I was like, oh my God, you know what?
The
I'm
word
staying out of
live now,
Yeah.
or like that's like why do it later? Now.
Yeah.
And we're not going live now as we're going live now, but and it's all day. It's all day we're going live. And I think what I've loved about the perspective I've gotten from some of the younger kids that have been interning and also mentoring me is sharing what's going on at Steiner, sharing what's going on in my office, and being really authentic about it has really gotten me closer to my customers. And I want them to understand the trials, tribulations, the hard work. And as my son always says, Dad, I'm a person too, And I want my customers to know, like, we're people here working really hard, trying to figure this product, trying to get these signings and get you these players. And I think social media has really enabled us to get closer with our customers, to show them all that stuff. Because otherwise they just see this beautiful signed ball by Eli Manning or Peyton Manning, or they see these beautiful products, but they really don't see the makings and all the work that goes behind it. And there's a lot of 100 hardworking people here at Steiner doing it.
Yeah. And
so social media has been really good for me.
Well, it's good for me as well. In your business, for example, is that I do a lot of speaking about how to get a job in sports. And the reason I do it is so many people, when I ran Lee Steinberg, they'd come up to me and I tell a story about being more interested than interesting. When I was 18 and realized I couldn't be a professional football player, I played football in college and got my butt kicked. So my freshman year, I realized my career is really over, even though I got 4 years to play. I knew I was going to
be more interested than being interesting.
Yeah, and my brother was a doctor.
I like that.
And so I decided I'd be a doctor, like every other nice Jewish boy. And after my season, I go to the hospital. My brother's doing his residency. First words out of my mouth, I hate hospitals. And my brother's looking at me, Dave, you're pre-med at this great school. We know you're not going to be a professional football player. What do you mean you hate hospitals? I'm like, well, I was 18. I don't want to be a hospital doctor. He goes, what are you talking about? I was like, I want to be either a sports doctor or maybe a pediatrician to help kids. He goes, you have to be in a hospital to be a doctor in general. Then you go on. I didn't know. They don't know what you do here. So, Steiner's a great place to work. And there's like, so many people think it's so hard to get a job in sports. I'm like, go work for Scott's Lawn Care. They have great jobs in sports. You can go to all the sporting events. You pay for advertising, appearances.
Every class in school, starting in high school, should talk about how to find work.
Yeah.
And it's always to the senior year, then they have a couple symposiums. Every professor should have an obligation to show their perspective about how work gets done and how work gets got, how you go and get a job.
Yeah.
Because you had better be good at it because it's something you're going to be doing for most of your life.
Yeah, and think about you.
It's amazing how little it gets talked about. Unless you're talking about girls, guys, party, drinking, whatever. The only thing you're going to attract solid attention from kids is here's how you find work. Here's how you go get a job because you need that.
Yeah, I think you should teach how do we make money, how do we help people, and how do you have fun. Those three things should be taught in college. And if I'm teaching a course, even accounting, right? You're in a very practical field when you were studying, but they didn't transfer it over and saying, okay, here's how you do this, but this is how it applies to this type of business, this industry, or even ask you, Brendan, what do you want to work in? Let me show you how this accounting applies to sports. I remember
I was interviewing a partner at a CPA firm, and I said, "What's the most important thing about being a partner at a CPA firm?" He goes, "You need to be able to write well." I'm like, "What?" Because accounting has nothing to do with really numbers. It's the explanation of numbers and how well you communicate these numbers and the trends of these numbers is how effective you're going to be as a CPA and accountant.
Right.
And I never thought about it that way. Yeah. And I just think more of that kind of conversation, more experts coming into classrooms. I mean, a school should be obligated to be bringing in a lot of experts if they have to pay, not whatever. And you just don't see enough of it. And I think the kids need to see that common practice.
I think in our lifetime we'll see via the internet that we have expert schools and that people will go to college for the socialization. Yeah, because I think it's important in those 4 years to socialize and do all the things that you do.
And the professional level of learning.
Exactly.
The accounting, the legal.
Experts online.
Now you go Skype in. There's so many ways.
Yeah.
Now even on the speaking, like I've got a call the other day. It's like, listen, we can't afford to bring you in, but we'll pay you to do a Skype for our sales force.
Yeah.
And that's like, wow, that is so random.
It's so good though.
That's so good.
Yeah, you put the jacket on, the shirt, and then you wear your boxers. And
my wife when she interviews you, she'll make you stand up to see if you're not wearing. Make sure you're wearing pants, so you can't get away with that with our.
Oh yeah.
Those paying grads, they're always thinking one step ahead. They don't. You can't get away with anything.
Yeah, it's different. You've done the Skype thing. I find I feed off of people's energy. So even off of you in this interview, right? I'm feeding off your energy. The hardest part for me about those Skype things is you're talking to no one.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird to me, even though you get the list of questions on the right.
But I also realize, like when I do these Skype interviews now, and I realize that 20,000 people have watched, I know that I never would have got that in a live audience.
That's the stage
theory. That's something I've got now accustomed to is speak for shorter periods of time, and also it's okay to go do a quick 2-minute video with 40,000 views. It's about getting your message out to the most people that you hope that you can help.
It's awesome. I got snowed out of Villanova. I was speaking there yesterday. And because of the stage theory, we were able to empower those kids, be able to. Now, whether you're speaking to one, it turns into, like I said, as long as we can capture it on camera, then it goes to not only the class that's there, but could be another 100,000 people.
So now, are you on a little tour for your book, or are you promoting the show?
I just have for every.
When's the book come out, by the way?
25th of March.
And the name of it again?
Be Unstoppable.
By the way, his books are great. I mean, I know you got a lot of stuff to read out there, but you should pre-order that anyway. It's an Amazon thing?
Yeah, Amazon thing with Jack Canfield, Cynthia Kersey, and I.
Wow, that's special. That's great collaboration. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Now, are you on a book tour, or where's your...
No, everything for me is always overlap. So we just do business meetings. I'll do keynotes. For every paid engagement I give, I do a free speech. That's just for
love that.
As I was able to, you know how it is we built our careers about the same time. When people are actually willing to pay what I charge, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give back every time, one for one, and sometimes more.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But so every city I go to, I'm in and out. I take red eyes like I did last night. We're in and out. One day I go to Austin tomorrow for South by Southwest. I'm a Dell influencer. We're doing a great thing I wrote a book called Compassionate Capitalism. So we're speaking on that, and then I'll leave at 11 at night. But I'll do probably 6-7 meetings beyond just the speaking engagement.
That's my goal. I want to go to Southwest next year. My daughter lives in Austin. I haven't gone and done anything there.
Just give us a call.
So,
you and I can do a fireside chat.
I want to do something there. I think maybe next year we could do something together. That'd be fun.
Great.
Dave, I got to tell you, I could talk to you all day. We'll have you back.
Awesome.
Pick up his book. Watch the show. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon, Roku, everywhere.
But an entrepreneur. If you go, first of all, if you're an entrepreneur, you should go out there and register. Go on entrepreneur.com anyway. Yep. They do a great job. I just, we always, to me, there's always that underlying theory when I talk to entrepreneurs, even no matter how successful they are, the Entrepreneur magazine always comes up.
Yeah,
and it's just because they did a consistent job and they haven't wavered in just trying to capture what's
the how-to.
The how-to, and I love that their commitment to that. I hope that magazine stays around for a long, long time. That was like my Bible as a kid. It's a pleasure, David. Thank you for all the good work. Really, you're a blessing in itself. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Really.